Hey there, welcome to our Steelers show. I'm Chris, got Paul with me. Joe is somewhere out there. Um, Joe will be on in a little bit.
He will be en route.
He's en route, so that's fine. He'll be right on time for a Game Pickett show. So, hello. All right. Well, hey, we got a couple Steelers segments tonight. We're doing this live. If you got a question, let us know. It kind of sprung to some people by surprise, but I like how it's going. Maybe we'll just start doing all of our shows like this. And if we do that, you can ask questions, make fun of us, do whatever. We don't care. But hey, first of all, yeah, believe me, we're easy targets. It's been a long week. I'm a very easy target this week. Probably like any other week, too. But yeah, first of all, let's talk about the game itself. Monday Night Football. Oh, my goodness. I remember at the beginning of this year when it looked like the Steelers were going to be a playoff team potentially, and the Colts were going to be a playoff game. Potentially.
So two of the members of this podcast were full tilt. We're going to playoffs. It wasn't a unanimous declaration.
Well, I'll put it this way. When you looked at this game on the schedule game, like when you play a schedule game, you're like, wow, here are a Monday night game between two potentially good teams, right? I mean, I think it would be silly saying, hey, this was the AFC title game or whatever. But, the Steelers are supposed to be okay going into the year. The Colts, man, I'm surprised they're not as better. I mean, it's been a rough year for the Colts too. But obviously, as we know, Steelers, tough season, Colts, tough season. So they end up playing each other. Kind of interesting. I thought the Steelers started out really well. The defense played really well. I thought Matt Ryan, the quarterback of the Colts, played really, really bad. You want to yell about what's happening in Pittsburgh with their quarterbacks. My goodness. Big Ben, at the end of his time, looked a lot better than Matt Ryan at the end of his time. What's going on with Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan was never the most athletic quarterback in the league, and the age clock keeps going up, and yeah,
he was off on a lot of his passes. It was pretty tough. And here's the other thing, too, and this was interesting. They've got, I think, like a 30-year-old calling plays, Jeff Saturday. And I will say, I think the Colts are playing more intense with Jeff Saturday. I'm not sure if Jeff Saturday's coaching decisions, and that's what cost the Colts at the end of the game. But, it was funny. You would think you have a healthy Jonathan Taylor. Why are you throwing the ball? Give it to Jonathan Taylor. But they threw it with Ryan a lot, and that's what kind of got the Colts behind. When the Colts started playing more running game, I think that's what helped propel them, and they actually took a late lead against the Steelers. So I thought, like we said, Matt Ryan was rough at the beginning of the game. We're going to have a separate segment talking about Kenny Pickett, and I'm not blaming this necessarily on Kenny Pickett, but, Paul, I get a little frustrated. I think it's got to do with Matt Canada and the lack of weapons they have on the offensive side. They're selling too much for field goals. I mean, it was 16-3 at one point. It could have been 21-3 or 28-3. I just want to see them finish off more drives. I mean, to be a really true winning team in the NFL, you got to score touchdowns, not field goals.
We've shared our disgruntled thoughts on Matt Canada, but I think any benefit he has as an OC really falls apart inside the red zone for whatever reason.
Yeah,
we just can't figure out a way to. I mean, you've got some good big receiving options, but they don't seem to want to use them in the end zone.
Yeah, it's so questionable calls. I saw a couple of screens of Zach Gentry. Well, what are we doing? I mean, I think Zach Gentry can play football. I like how Zach Gentry blocks. I think he can catch passes in certain situations, but tying screens to a guy that's just a big guy, and they've done shovel passes in weeks past them. I mean, come on. I still think there's a lot of like run calls on like first and long or second long, which still baffle me. Now, I will say to the Steelers' credit, my goodness, Paul, we thought at the beginning of the year when the Steelers were struggling running the ball, that they would never be able to run the ball again. They've ran pretty well over the past couple of weeks, and they have banged up Najee Harris. Some guys that we've been afraid of in the past, like Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland played, but they played pretty well. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I was to think of Benny Snell having to take the dominant spot. That was not setting up for a positive possibility, but lo and behold, he did pretty all right.
Yeah, and I thought the thing that was also interesting too, Najee played pretty well. He had a touchdown. He looks banged up, which isn't good. So I don't know. I heard a report late today from Adam Schefter, and I hope it's still Adam Schefter. I know if Elon Musk Twitter thing, everyone could be anybody they want. But no, I saw the report Jaylen Warren's supposedly going to be able to play this weekend against Atlanta. And I put a tweet out saying, look, let's rest Najee. Yes. I mean, you can start Jaylen Warren. You don't have to run Warren 20 times a game. Give a couple carries to Snell, give a couple carries to McFarland. And I think you could be in good shape. And I'll go on top of that to say, yeah, Dan Moore still struggles and everything. But overall, I thought the offensive line played pretty well. I think the backups ran the ball pretty hard. And, it wasn't a bad night for the running game. And, again, we'll talk about Kenny Pickett in another segment. But that makes the job easier for a young quarterback when you have the running game in place. And I thought the offensive line played pretty well. Let's talk receivers. Deontay Johnson. Last week I heard, they're shifting all their coverage to him. They're putting 10 guys on Deontay Johnson. That's why he's not getting the ball that much. Paul, shame on us. We don't watch the 22, the NFL All 22, where they show, from the sky the players. We love the NFL, but we don't got that much time. We have families, we have lives to lead. We can't analyze everything. But I tried to watch Johnson on some of the replays. I don't think he was getting double cover, Paul.
Yeah, despite popular opinion, I don't think that was the case. It looked like there was a lot of other defenders covering other people on the field.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. Is he just not getting open? Does he not have that rapport with Kenny Pickett? I thought the other guys were okay. I mean, Freiermuth had some good catches. Pickens is still trying to find himself. I think he's got potential to be a really, really good receiver. Mm-hmm. He's not quite there yet, but I like the effort. I mean, he's at least putting some stuff in, unlike Claypool and Deontay Johnson. So, I mean, overall, I thought the offense was good. Defense, there's 2 touchdown drives where Matt Ryan got the Colts back in the game, weren't great. The tight end for the Colts, never heard of the guy before, but he almost had 100 yards receiving, and I think he had 50 yards receiving in his career beforehand. So it wasn't picture perfect by the defense, but I liked how they kind of stood up at the end and they got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it was still not what we'd hoped from the defense, and I think at least I thought that Watt back was going to rebalance the power on the defensive side and we'd be back to form. I mean, it wasn't a bad performance from the defense, but still not quite where, I mean, again, we went into the season assuming that we were going to have one of the top defenses in the NFL. We didn't foresee Watt being out for a while, but even his return hasn't necessarily brought us back to dominant form.
Yeah, I think maybe we're too, I don't know what you call it. Maybe we're arrogant. Like, TJ Watt's not going to have, star buzz plays every single game. But I didn't recall seeing, like, I was watching TJ Watt too. I didn't see a lot of pressures. I didn't, I don't remember seeing a ton of great plays from even Cam Hayward or Minka. I mean, they played well. I'm not saying they were off.
Right.
But, in times past, look back at the beginning game against the Bengals, those three guys really stood out, and the other guys played well.
Yeah.
It was just one of those, you had really like splash plays from guys you wouldn't expect. Like there was a late fumble. How the fumble that Ryan had, where I think it was when we had the botch handoff with Taylor, he fell on the ball, but somehow Chris Wormley was able to get the ball from Ryan. And, so guys like Chris Wormley made plays and other stuff. A lot of questions about Matt Ryan. I don't know what was going on with him. So, all right. What else should we talk about with the Steelers in terms of the game? Again, we'll talk in the next segment live about Kenny Pickett. Anything else jump out at you from the Steelers?
No, I think overall, I didn't think we could get it done. We did. We looked solid. There's still a lot of problems and question marks, but we're over. Ever since the bye week, we've scored at least 20 points, which the first half of the season, that was like would be a dream to even hit 20. So we're getting there. And again, I've said all season and even before the season that this was going to be that reboot year. And the important thing was going to be growing and progress. And I nothing has made me say, I'm need to give Matt Canada the benefit of the doubt. I still think he needs to go, but I think the young guys are making improvements. We're coming together. I'm feeling very good about next year. Again, I didn't have high hopes for this year. So I'm seeing improvement week by week, and I'm happy about that. And, happy we got the W.
Well, I think I'm seeing more effort too. That Bills game, you're like, oh my gosh, they're not going to win ever again, or at least this year.
It was the Bills though too.
Right. And to another point, they beat the Saints and they beat the Colts, who aren't that good, either team. But I like the fact that they're being more competitive. It is ruining their draft pick. Right now, if the season ends today, Steelers draft 12. So we don't have to worry about them drafting a quarterback, but I'm not sure if they even get a lineman up that high. I sent you guys a note. There's a lineman from Penn State that said, hey, I'm coming back for another year. The rough thing about that was him and the guy from Northwestern were the top linemen in the draft. So if the Penn State guy goes back, you may not be able – there's less choices with a high first-round pick. So, I don't know. That was kind of scary. Wanted to bring this – well, we could wait till next segment. Watch the Ohio State-Michigan game. CJ Stroud, he's all right. I don't think he necessarily lost him the game. It was their horrifying, terrible defense that kind of screwed up CJ Stroud. Well, screwed up the Buckeyes. But CJ Stroud wasn't a dominant, overwhelming quarterback, so
Ooh,
I don't know.
No coming in on the car.
Yes.
Right? Right? I'm trying to call in from the car, and I'm typing with my thumb.
Oh.
Just trying to get in and be able to talk about something.
Well, be careful as you're driving.
Well, of course I'm going to be careful.
Where was this when I was reporting live from Licking County on my way out?
I was scared about
there was
that
no
too.
drive carefully. It was where's the cat?
I had probably one of our biggest interviews from last year. I had a chance to talk to Ryan Clark, and he was calling me while he was driving. And it was strange because he was driving the car while looking at me. And I'm like, please, Ryan Clark, don't die in a car wreck. I would feel bad. And
I really don't want to be responsible for the very last interview with RC.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't need that on my conscience.
Right, I'm feeling the same way watching Joe here. I don't want this on my conscience either.
Well, just so you know, at some point I'm going to set the phone down, and you're not going to see anything, but you'll still hear me.
Okay. That works well. So very good. Hey, we got two segments on the Steelers, Joe.
It won't quite have the same headline as. Oh, wait.
No, I'm still here. It's just very dark.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I had an interior light on in order you could see me. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm going to set down my phone. I'm still here. Keep talking
All right.
to me. You say we got two Steelers segments.
Yeah. This first one, we talked about the game. Hey, they won.
It's true.
I would call it a step forward. I don't think it's a leap forward. Again, let's still print our Super Bowl tickets tonight, but hey, it's a lot better than losing the game. And
it is.
I don't know.
It feels so much better than when we lose.
Yes. Well, we're going to talk a little more Kenny Pickett in the next segment, but what were your thoughts about the game non-Kenny Pickett? We'll offer
the game non-Kenny Pickett. Well, I was happy seeing some positive things that happened beginning of the game and then in the fourth quarter with the offensive line play. Quarter three, there was a little bit of some hiccups and some difficulties actually, sustaining drives at all. But there was some halfway decent offensive line play in there, which was really nice to see. It's such a change of pace of what we normally see.
I got to tell you, Paul, the worst feeling I had Monday night, and believe it or not, I actually stayed up for the whole game. I usually fall asleep 10 minutes in the game and miss it once at night. But I was awake that night, so I ended up watching the whole thing. But I got a Facebook message from Joe at halftime because you had an event earlier, and Joe's like, hey, I'm checking out. It looks pretty good so far. I'm like, no! It's usually when Joe tunes in, things start going bad for Steelers.
Goes bad, and then it did.
Yes. I'm like,
I was like, man, I got to shut this off. I need to go to bed. This isn't going to work.
Did you stay up?
But I did stay up.
Okay, and they actually won it, so good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we can bring this up in the few minutes we have. It's not necessarily Kenny Pickett related. What do you think happens in the Steelers locker room? Because against the Bengals, they played pretty well in the first half overall, not just quarterback, as a team.
Right.
And then they just went poo-poo in the second half. Same thing happened against the Colts. Is like Matt Canada saying anything? Like, is the fact he's saying anything horrifying the Steelers offense? Or is he not saying more? What's being said?
Maybe they're not letting them go poo-poo at halftime, and so they have to go in half. So if they let them go poo-poo at halftime,
makes them run a little more sluggish.
Okay.
Because they need to go poo-poo. I'm not sure. I don't know what's being said, what's not being said. But if we dial it back to everything all of the issues that have surrounded Matt Canada offense this entire year plus, is not making adjustments and not varying the play calling and not changing the looks of plays. I know that in the third quarter, I'm just a dope watching football from Mississippi, and I can watch the plays and watch the way that they're doing the movement. They're trying to move players around, and I go, I know what play is being called. I'm not studying film all week. I'm not even really paying that close attention when the games start, like the pregame. The other team are professional football players and coaches. They're paying attention. They know what you're calling. Everyone knows what you're calling.
Well, and apparently,
what Tomlin had said in response in his press conference previously was, everybody calls the same set of plays and does things there's only so many plays you can call. Really, it's about execution. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But if you're calling the exact same play, are we really expecting that the execution is going to be vastly different 10 seconds later?
Yeah.
No.
Has Tomlin never played Madden? I mean, there's quite an assortment of plays in Madden.
Well, he didn't say that specifically. That's my interpretation of what he said. But that's the essence of what he said was saying was, a team gets settled into a certain kind of offense, and you can easily make predictions about what they're going to do if you're paying attention. But it still comes down to execution, because there's plenty of plays where, it's going to be Derrick Henry up the gut, but now you got to stop him.
It does no good either if you've got 20 plays and you run the play on first down every time you have a first down.
Right? Every time. But there was the one time I was watching it in the third quarter where it was on first down and then it was on second down. It was the same motion. The same people running back and forth across the field, and you still handed it off and got -2 yards. Why did you just run it again? That was dumb.
Well, here's a bar they have to climb to become a playoff team. You got to start scoring touchdowns these drives, not just field goals. And I think it's Canada. I think it's a bunch of different stuff. And what frustrates me, they actually ran the ball good. And
yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Even without Najee and without Warren. Benny Snell did some running. I know, I'm as surprised as anyone. McFarland was doing okay.
I think if Baysong could get 10 carries a game, he can be a viable running back. I think the issue comes when you start looking at him as a 20, 25 carry guy. He's not that. And I liked it. He was like 11 for 62. I think that was perfect. I was telling Paul there was a late report saying Jalen Warren's going to be available for the Falcons game. I know Najee scored a touchdown. I know he's looking a little bit better, but he got banged up. Start Warren, give Najee the week off. And I'm not saying Najee's horrible. I think he's played better, but help him feel better. Give him a week to heal up.
Or at least
don't
lean on him so heavy for a week.
Yeah,
it's not about benching him. It's not about that. It's about increasing his longevity and making sure that he's healthy for games after. Next week is against the Falcons. Let's worry about what we're doing when we got the Ravens.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, and we should, so we can get to the pick apart, we should close up in a minute. Falcons are going to be kind of an interesting team. I know at the beginning of the year we looked at the Falcons is going to be really terrible this year. They're still in the NFC South hunt. I think they're like 5-6 or so.
But that's the NFC South.
Yeah, but the Falcons, they've played well against
Tampa in first place with the losing record.
Yeah. Well, let's hit it this way. What do you guys think? Is a game at Atlanta, 1 p.m.? What's your pick?
I think the Steelers come out with it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be particularly high scoring. I think we're still looking at the, maybe 24-20, 23-20 kind of game.
All right, Paul.
Preseason, I predicted a Steelers win, so I'm going to stay with that, and I would have regardless. And so if this, I have to glitch out every time. We'll have our first winning streak of the season. I actually think this will be a pretty solid one. I think this will be good. I'm going 27-14 Steelers.
Wow.
Okay, I'll preface my pick by saying this. I hope the Steelers win every game, and it'd be nice to predict them win every game. The last couple of weeks, when I picked them to lose, they've won. So let's do this again. Falcons 20, Steelers 17.
Reverse psychology.
Right, because I know if I say Steelers win, they'll lose. I mean, but I think this is a very winnable game from the Steelers. I wouldn't overlook the Falcons. The Falcons can be pesky. I mean, they've beaten a couple decent teams this year. I think the Steelers need to play well, but they got the potential to play well and win the game. But again, my pick's usually wrong, so let me pick the Falcons to win the game. So
go with it, Chris, because I think what happens is you pick them to lose, and then Sunday mornings, Tomlin rolls this footage in the locker room. Like, you go out there and you show that Chris Pugh what you're made of.
Yes, and they get mad. I mean, Charlie Goldsmith, we were talking to him about Bengals who listen to this podcast, and Charlie was nice to say no. Come on, Charlie's wrong. I know all the NFL players gather around their phone. They're all wired. All the Steelers players are in their hotels tonight going.
Chris's Steelers podcast predictions
Yes.
and Renegade are the two things that get the Steelers players hyped up more than any other thing.
The screen at Acrisure Stadium goes black.
So,
Comes up, and it's me, Paul, and Joe making our inane picks for the game.
So what we need to do is record a karaoke of us singing Renegade.
Oh, no. that
so they can play it in the stadium, baby.
Hey, donate money to our Cash App. If you donate $10,000 next week, maybe we'll do that. But you got to donate money. We're not doing this out of the kindness of our own hearts. I mean, come on.
Our hearts are only so kind.
Yes, definitely. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for checking out our Steelers game look back. We got another segment, and again, we're doing this live. So, if you're following along on Facebook or Twitter, you'll see another video pop up in a couple minutes. We'll be right back, and thanks for checking out our show.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high-impact folks as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.